Hi viewers, in this class we are going to learn ecological pyramids. Under this introductory part, types of pyramids, pyramids and productivity, effect of pyramid structure and functioning of ecosystem we will discuss. Let us start with the introductory part. The trophic structure of an ecosystem can be indicated by means of ecological pyramid. At each step in the food chain, a considerable fraction of the potential energy is lost as the heat. As a result, organisms in each trophic level pass on lesser energy to the next trophic level than they actually receive. This limits the number of steps in any food chain from 4 to 5. Longer the food chain, the lesser the energy is available for final members. Because of this tapering off of the available energy in the food chain, a pyramid is formed that is known as the ecological pyramid. The higher the steps in the ecological pyramid, the lower will be the number of individuals and the larger their size. The concept of ecological pyramids was developed by British ecologist Charles Elton in 1927. Here, the organisms of the food chain are arranged according to the trophic levels, and producers are located at the broad base, and successive trophic levels make the apex of the ecological pyramid. So, they are at the producers at the base, and quaternary, tertiary consumers at the top, otherwise at the apex. And here there are three types of pyramids, namely pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy. Let us see one by one. Pyramid of numbers. It represents the numerical relationship between different trophic levels of the food chain. It depicts the number of individuals in producers and different orders of consumers in an ecosystem. The base of pyramid is represented by producers, which are the most abundant in the successive levels of the consumers, and then the number of organisms goes on decreasing rapidly until there are a few carnivores. Let us see the diagram here. The pyramid of numbers of an ecosystem indicates the producers are ingested in large numbers by small number of primary consumers, and these primary consumers are eaten by relatively small number of secondary consumers, and these secondary consumers in turn are consumed by only few tertiary consumers, and thereby finally only less number of quaternary consumers are present at the apex. The best examples for the pyramid of numbers is shown in the grassland ecosystem and as well as the pond ecosystem. Both of them looks similar and they are in the upright position. Here, if you take into consideration the grassland ecosystem, where here there are the producers more in number, followed by herbivores relatively small, relatively less in number, and furthermore relatively less in number in the secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Finally only one peacock is there at the apex, top carnivore. Where in the case of aquatic ecosystem, more number of producers, relatively less number primary consumers, relative furthermore less number of secondary consumers, and there is a crane at the apex at the position of top carnivore at the apex. And if we see the parasitic food chain in regard with the pyramid of numbers, in parasitic food chain the pyramid get inverted pyramid of the number. The best example is the parasitic food chain. This is because on a single tree many birds live, and each one of them provides nutrition to number of parasites like the bugs and lice, and thus form the producers towards the consumers. And within the parasites there are many number of hyperparasites. They are located at the top, but there are more in number. Here the number is gradually increased from producers to the hyperparasites. So that indicates that the ecosystem of grassland and the aquatic ecosystem, they have the upright position pyramids of the pyramid number, and whereas in the parasitic food chain the pyramid get inverted. This should be remembered. And coming to the pyramid of biomass. Biomass means total weight of the organism belonging to a species at any time in an ecosystem. The living weights or biomass of the members of the food chain present at any one time form the pyramid of biomass of organisms. This indicates by weight or other means of measuring materials the total bulk of organisms or fixed energy present at one time. The pyramid of biomass indicates the decrease of biomass in each trophic level from base to the apex. For example, total biomass of producers is more than the total biomass of the herbivores. Here you can see this is the total biomass of producers and this is the total biomass of the herbivores. In a terrestrial ecosystem like the grassland or the forest, the pyramid of biomass decreases at each trophic level from base to the top. The total biomass of producers is much more than the total biomass of herbivores. Here we can see. And it is more than that of total biomass of primary consumers. Here you can see the total biomass of producers 1000 kg, primary consumers 100 kg, and secondary consumers 10 kg, and tertiary consumers 1 kg. So there is a gradual decrease in the biomass of the pyramids. And if you come to the aquatic ecosystem, in an aquatic ecosystem like the pond, the biomass of producers like the phytoplankton is very less when compared with the biomass of herbivores like the zooplanktons that feed on them. Biomass of herbivores is little when compared to the biomass of the primary carnivores like the small fishes which feed on them. Biomass of secondary carnivores like the large fish which feed on small fishes is the highest of all the trophic levels, thus making the pyramid inverted. So here producers weigh, for example, 4 grams per meter square, whereas the herbivores 8 grams per meter square, and whereas the carnivores 12 grams per meter square. And coming to the pyramid of energy, it represents the total energy that is available at each trophic level of the ecosystem per unit area over a set period of time. This depicts not only the amount of total energy utilized by the organisms at each trophic level of food chain, but more important, the actual role of various organisms in transfer of energy. At the producer level, the total energy will be much greater than the energy at the successive higher trophic levels. Some producer organisms may have small biomass, but the total energy they assimilate and pass on to the consumers may be greater than that of the organisms with much larger biomass. Higher trophic levels are more efficient in energy utilization, but much heat is lost in energy transfer. Energy lost by respiration also progressively increase from lower to the higher trophic levels. Here we can see the producers, if they have 100% of energy, but they transfer only 10% because remaining energy may be lost through the decomposition or that may be utilized for the respiration. And out of this 10, it utilizes something and goes waste in the form of decomposition, and only 1% reaches the next level, and from 1% 0.1%. So, from one trophic level to the another trophic level, there is a transfer of only 10% of energy from one level to the another level. That is, approximately 10% of the energy harvested at a lower trophic level is transferred up to the next higher trophic levels. Here you can see 1 log units, let us assume. The next level 10%, 10,000, 10%, 1000, again 10%, 100, again 10%, only 10. When reaches from one level to the fifth level, first level to the fifth level, the energy gradually decreased. So, here the energy which is obtained by the plants from the sun, that will be harvested in the form of food material. So when transfer energy from producers to the consumers, so most of the energy will lost in the form of the heat from one level to the another level. From one level to another level, only 10% of energy is transferred one trophic level to the another trophic level. And coming to the pyramids of numbers, biomass, and the productivity. Ecological pyramids represent numerical relationship between successive trophic levels in a community. Which pyramid is chosen for examination depends on the type and quality of the data collected. One way to simplify food webs is to assign the organisms to trophic levels and then count the number of organisms in each trophic level. That is seen in the pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass, and so on. A pyramid of numbers represents the numbers of individual plants and animals represented in the food web. It does not take into account the relative size of any organism. Consequently, it is possible to have an inverted pyramid of numbers sometimes. This is the general upright pyramid. If you see here, there is a, as with all the pyramids, if you see this pyramid, the numbers of individuals have been counted. The primary producer is a one oak tree, otherwise a elder tree, which can support an entire food chain containing many organisms. So here many aphids are there. Upon the aphids, lace wings are dependent, and the starling depend upon the lace wings. So here there is a disturbance in the upright position of the pyramid. And a pyramid of biomass takes body size into account. Such a pyramid for the oak tree is shown, and this now seems to make sense, but it requires much more data to construct it. And you have to find out the dry mass of the organisms of your sample and their energy content. Then coming to the effect of the pyramid structure on the functioning of the ecosystem. The pyramid pattern of energy flow in ecosystem has an important ramification, that is the biological magnification. Biological magnification. That is the tendency for toxic substances to increase in concentration in progressively higher levels of the food chain. For example, many chemical insecticides such as DDT resist degradation in the environment and tend to be stored in body fats of the organisms. If farmers spray DDT on their cabbage plants to control the cabbage looper caterpillar, some of the chemical inevitably runs off into streams and lakes, freshwater ecosystems. There, instead of breaking down, some of it may enter water plants. Later, they are eaten by herbivorous fish. Fish and other animals cannot break down or excrete the toxin, and it is instead stored in their body fats of the fishes and the aquatic animals. The magnification continues. When carnivorous fish, they may eat upon the herbivorous fish, and when top carnivores such as the birds, they feed upon the carnivorous fish. The concentration of DDT in the birds' bodies can reach of about 10,000 times higher than in the water plants that originally took it up. And this amount of DDT interferes with calcium metabolism and results in thin shelled, easily broken eggs. During the 2 decades that DDT was commonly used in the USA, the numbers of ospreys, falcons, hawks, eagles, and condors dropped significantly as a result of a lethal chain of the events. Although the use of DDT was banned in 1968, the chemicals are still widely used in overpopulated and developing nations to control mosquitoes that spread malaria, the greatest killer of humans, and they continue to magnify in the food chains as a consequence of the ecological pyramids. Let us see the number. In the water, it is only 0.000003 parts per million, but a zooplankton may eat more and more number of phytoplankton so that the concentration reach 0.04 ppm 04 ppm, and the small fishes may eat many zooplankton so that the ratio reaches 0.5 ppm, and if the large fish eats upon the small fish, the range reaches to 2 ppm, and if a falcon or hawk it eats on the fish, the concentration reached 25 ppm. So when you compare the ppm concentration of the toxin in the water and the concentration in the higher carnivore, there is a 10 million times increase in the concentration of the DDT. Here another example. In the water it is only 0.00005 ppm, and in the algae and other plankton 0.04 ppm, in the shrimp 0.16 gradually increasing, in the eel 0.28 ppm, and it is the Atlantic needlefish 2.07 ppm, and it is a final carnivore tertiary consumer, so it reaches 75.5 ppm. From this range to this range, it is almost 1.51 million times more increase. So that much amount of DDT that is accumulated in the form of biomagnification phenomena. So thereby that leads to the death of the individuals. This is a threat of the toxic biomagnification or bioaccumulation. This is all about the ecological pyramids, types, and their examples, and the biomagnification. Thank you, one and all.